Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers hold a 2-day food distribution for Syrian refugees in Turkey. In the Philippines, students at Tacloban and Tanauan visit the Haiyan Photography exhibition hosted by Tzu Chi. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. As the Syrian crisis heads into its 4th year, more than 3.2 million people have been displaced, over 1 million of whom have escaped the onslaught to seek refuge in neighboring Turkey. At the beginning of November, Tzu Chi volunteers in Turkey distributed blankets and warm clothing to Syrian refugees. 1 week later, volunteers carried out yet another distribution, handing out rice, cooking oil, and flour to ready 970 Syrian refugee families for the winter months.
يا حبيبي يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
I used to lead a very simple life back home with my family. I had a wife and child. There was no fighting. Syria was once a very beautiful country.
Not so long ago, their dream was more than working in a dark and shabby sewing room. These refugees were once teachers, some were professionals, but the civil war has robbed them of their dreams of a better future. A song evoked nostalgia and filled hearts with feelings of sadness. Here, Syrian refugees have discovered the value of life. To help the Syrians seeking refuge in the country, Tzu Chi volunteers in Turkey organized a 2-day food distribution. Some refugees, even after working a 12-hour shift, took it upon themselves to bring help wherever they could. Tents provided by the deputy mayor of Istanbul shielded volunteers and refugees from the rain. With all arrangements in place, the distribution was carried out smoothly and efficiently. Day 2 of the distribution, a refugee brought a heartwarming gift for the volunteers.
He gave me some raisins. I see my prayers for peace have finally been answered. Tzu Chi's compassion will go down in history.
أتمنى أن أرى العالم في يوم من الأيام دون سلاح ودون باسبورات، وأن لا يكون هناك أمريكي أو آسيوي أو عربي أو أي جنسية، أن نكون نحن سكان الأرض إخوة. أتمنى هذا الشيء.
In Malaysia, every year, the Sim Darby Foundation awards scholarships to qualified students in a similar fashion to Tzu Chi's New Shoot scholarships. Recently, the Sim Darby Foundation awarded 300 sets of school supplies, which included uniforms, shoes, and stationery to refugee children of the UNHCR Tzu Chi Education Center in Kuala Lumpur's Salangya. It is hoped these gifts of love will ensure a less bumpy path for these children living in a foreign land. Recently, the Sim Darby Foundation of Malaysia donated 300 sets of school supplies to the refugee children of the UNHCR Tzu Chi Education Center located at Kuala Lumpur's Salangya.
We believe that refugee children have the potential and they need to be assisted. If we do not assist them, nobody will be assisting them.
This is a really great collaboration between Sim Darby and Tzu Chi and UNHCR, because if you can give kids uniforms, it makes them feel proud, makes them feel that they belong to something.
New backpacks, shoes, uniforms, and school supplies. For families struggling to make ends meet, these gifts are luxury items.
I'm extremely happy because I've received a backpack.
Thank you to everyone who gave us the backpacks and uniforms. These school supplies may seem very average for most, but for these refugee children, the gifts will help make sure there is one less obstacle on their path to receiving an education. We turn our focus to China as the Tzu Chi Foundation's annual winter aid distributions in the country is fast approaching. Tzu Chi volunteers across the region are mobilizing to conduct final assessments. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers from Qingdao and Linyi cities in Shandong province traveled to Yinan County to learn more about local residents' needs. And in just 2 days, the volunteers visited over 600 households. Here's more on that story.
Traveling on the highway, Tzu Chi volunteers from Qingdao and Linyi cities are visiting Yinan County to visit some old friends. Upon their arrival, the volunteers are greeted by a senior. Despite their lack of material wealth, residents here are very content with their lives.
大爷，你有几个小孩啊？
我嘛，
啊，
几口俩了，
两个啊。
哎，女儿。
咦，好可爱的胡子。来，你再弄给他们。啊，再吃一点，再吃一口，我孝顺你的。
As Tzu Chi's winter aid distribution is just around the corner, Tzu Chi volunteers are here to gain a better understanding of residents' lives.
This year will be the third year Tzu Chi is holding a winter aid distribution in this area. Today we are here at Yinan County to conduct the final assessment before the upcoming distribution.
Besides offering delicious cookies to a grandpa who lost most of his teeth, the volunteers also chat with the grandma to learn more about her situation.
你尝尝，爷爷，你尝尝，好吃吗？不好，好吃啊！好吃吗？奶奶吃。
啊，又不让我了。
没事，它很软。好吃吗？
Witnessing suffering firsthand made me realize the importance of cherishing everything we have. All of us have also gained a better understanding of our care recipients' situation.
All of us are so much better off compared to the senior residents here.
哪个小孩你不认识啊？那小孩？那哪小孩啊？在你眼中小孩，在我们眼中那是我们大爷。
In just 2 days, the volunteers visited 600 households. Thanks to the volunteers' visit, residents are now looking forward to the date of the distribution more than ever.
好吃吗？好吃。啊，太好吃了。我也馋了。
祝福你健康，祝福你快乐，奶奶我永远祝福你。
We have more reports on how volunteers care for those in need. A forest fire in Katoomba of Australia's Blue Mountains spread out of control and burnt down a house on November 1st. Though one of the firefighters suffered smoke inhalation as a result, the residents escaped unharmed. Accompanied by the local city councilman, Tzu Chi volunteers paid both the firefighters and victims a visit.
On November 1st, a forest fire in Katoomba of Australia's Blue Mountains spread and burned down a house. A firefighter called to the site also suffered smoke inhalation.
We're trying to save a house, but unfortunately it was just too late, and we ran out of water. So, yeah, and in the meantime I got a bit too much smoke and started to choke and passed out. So.
Accompanied by City Councilman Don, Tzu Chi volunteers visited the firefighters, surveyed the site, and visited the homeowner, Helen, who is temporarily living with her friend. Helen is just glad that her 2 children and the family's dog all escaped unharmed.
This will probably lead to blankets and necessities.
That's right.
So it's lots of things we don't have. Right now we are very blessed to be here at this place, but when we leave this place, we don't know we don't have anything except for what we are walking in. Yeah.
Dawn, who has visited Hualien, the birthplace of Tzu Chi, shared the story of Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks with Helen.
So can I keep this? Yes. And I promise to post a coin every day. Yeah. And when I write my bestseller about trauma, I will put a big coin in.
Volunteers also offered Helen a peace charm. Full of gratitude, Helen believes this encounter with compassion and love will surely enrich her life.
Since its opening on October 19th, a photography exhibition organized by the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter continues to draw local residents. Furthermore, with the help of the local education bureau, students and teachers from various schools also arranged for trips to the exhibition to learn more about the Buddhist NGO and the transformation of Tacloban City following Typhoon Haiyan.
School buses filled with kids are here at a photography exhibition organized by the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter in Tacloban City. Today, these students are here to learn more about the city they live in. The exhibition consists of photos taken by Tzu Chi volunteers documenting the transformation of the city and the interaction between volunteers and locals following Typhoon Haiyan.
By coming here, the children learn how Tzu Chi reached out to Typhoon Haiyan survivors and cared for them. I think the volunteers are perfect role models for our students.
Since its opening in mid-October, the photography exhibition has continued to receive good feedback. The local education bureau even arranged for students from Tacloban and Tanauan to visit the exhibition. Furthermore, many children arrive with thank you cards and plastic bottles filled with coins.
We hope our donations can help those affected by Typhoon Haiyan and give more underprivileged children the chance to continue their education.
It is important for us to help the less fortunate. The volunteers told us that everyone on this planet is our family, so we need to lend a helping hand whenever someone needs it.
Thanks to the Buddhist NGO, children in the Philippines have learned to help those in greater need and promise to continue the cycle of love.
Thank you, Tzu Chi! Thank you, Tzu Chi! Thank you, Tzu Chi!
In Malaysia, Tzu Chi Volunteers from Seremban Liaison Office recently held a series of New Shoot Scholarship Awards ceremonies in 5 different schools. As many proud parents came to join in the celebration, volunteers took the opportunity to introduce Tzu Chi to recruit more like-minded individuals to join Tzu Chi's missions. Let's take a look. Hands together in gratitude, Tzu Chi's New Shoot Scholarship recipients received their financial aid and gift pack. Thanks to the Tzu Chi volunteers' guidance, Zhen Xingwei of Xinhua Chinese Elementary School is no longer a troublemaker.
Because I want to reduce my mother's burden, so I will work hard to get good grades. If we don't have the extra money from the scholarship, then my mother will worry, and I don't want to see her stressed.
Many proud parents also came to the scholarship ceremony. Among them is single parent Patuma Vati, who says the financial aid has greatly reduced her financial burden.
Because our family is poor, our children need to work harder to study in school, so that when they grow up, they will be able to get a good job and repay society by helping the less fortunate.
Volunteers also head into the audience to canvass for donations. Whether it is a bill or coins, everyone lovingly gives what they can.
Holding the scholarship ceremony in the community serves another purpose, because we can attract more Bodhisattva to future Tzu Chi events.
In total, 5 scholarship ceremonies were conducted, and Tzu Chi volunteers hope with more award ceremonies held in the community that more local residents will join the ranks of volunteers. Though Alishan is a renowned tourist destination in Taiwan, it lacks adequate medical resources due to its remote location. We now introduce you to 2 graduates of Haiyan Tzu Chi University who are working to change that. Ye Nanting, who was a nursing major but is now a firefighter undergoing EMT paramedics training, and An Xingyu, who regularly hosts free clinics in the area to safeguard its residents' health. 眼睛怎么了？
掉眼泪会模糊。
模糊，好，我再开给你。
It is the doctor's duty to treat the sick, but few in Taiwan serve their patients in a makeshift clinic in the mountains, like Dr. An Xingyu.
那就多休息啊，我开一点脚痛的药给你哦，哈。不过目前看起来是还好。
The clinic set up inside a pavilion may not be much, but for the residents of Ali Shan, it saves them from traveling for hours to see a doctor.
Dr. An prescribes 2 weeks worth of medicine each time. By the time I am done with my meds, she will be back up here again, so we are all able to see a doctor regularly.
The indigenous Zhou doctor has been carrying out mobile clinics in Ali Shan for 5 years on behalf of seniors who have trouble moving about.
We have visited you twice already, and your blood pressure seems to be normal now, so no need for any more meds, okay? When med students visit indigenous settlements, their first reaction is quite stereotypical, that indigenous people are filthy and have poor hygiene. But for me, it made me realize the continuing prejudice against indigenous people.
After graduating from Tzu Chi University, Dr. An worked at Haiyan Tzu Chi Hospital for close to 10 years. After Typhoon Morakot devastated Ali Shan in 2009, however, she decided to come home.
阿里山呢，很多的道路足足就是断了一个月以上。The roads leading to Ali Shan were all cut off for as long as a month. I saw that there was a need for medical care in the disaster area, so I signed up since I had some free time. It was within those several months that I realized I had a deep connection with my birthplace. Hey, bye.
Dr. An realized the more isolated a village is, the simpler its people are. While people tend to ignore their health problems, the higher they live up in the mountains.
If a patient needs to be hospitalized, we will check on him or her at the hospital. And once the patient is discharged, we will continue to follow up with both medical and emotional support.
Up here on Ali Shan, the fire department's first mission is to protect the health and safety of its residents. However, every response call is a challenge.
Every time we are sent out, we have to travel long distances. A typical round trip takes about a couple of hours.
海山要做无线电测试，请问讯号是否良好？
Haiyan Nanting was a nursing major back at Tzu Chi University, but is now working as a firefighter instead. Just what made him decide to make the career change.
What I learned in school was caring for patients after they arrived at the hospital. But here at my job, I care for them before they get to a hospital. So by doing this, I can help make the transition to the hospital smoother.
To give patients a better chance of survival in cases of an emergency, Ye is currently participating in senior paramedic training.
The EMT paramedics program provides us emergency response workers with long hours of training. After completing the program, I will be authorized to perform more procedures for patients.
These young people have given up the convenience and glitter of the city life to serve those living in the mountains. Thanks to them and others like them, the quality of life here is improving slowly but surely.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Hsinchu recently learned that a man in Zhubei is in need of assistance after suffering a stroke a year ago. Unable to work and care for himself and his mentally disabled son, the man could really use a helping hand. These volunteers visited him to help clean up his home and even brought a team of doctors to check on his conditions. Though it is raining outside, Tzu Chi volunteers still make the trip to Zhubei to help Mr. Liao clean up his home. The plants growing wild in the yard are cut down completely in hopes it will clear away the foul atmosphere surrounding the home.
I think when you're not well, you need a good environment to recover in. So that's why we have come together today to help improve the surroundings of this home, so its residents can take on their challenges with new energy.
Mr. Liao suffered a stroke a year ago and has been unable to work. His eldest son is mentally disabled. Thankfully, his second son has decided to come back to help out. Team of doctors are also here to provide physical therapy for Mr. Liao.
Just watch and learn from my movement. You have to do this slowly and watch his reaction. If he doesn't feel well, you will have to take a break. Before you begin, you can apply a hot towel to the area. He will need a simple foot brace because his right foot has atrophied and its alignment is off by about 15 degrees. Keeping it fixed in a position will help with its recovery.
The volunteers also help cut Mr. Liao's hair, hoping the new haircuts and new environments will give the family a new start in life. Many times, it's difficult for Tzu Chi volunteers to introduce the NGO's ideals to a non-Chinese speaking community. One way volunteers have been working to overcome this hurdle is to offer Chinese lessons for those interested. In Japan, Tzu Chi volunteers have been teaching Chinese along with Jingsi aphorisms and Tzu Chi's character education since 2002. These lessons have slowly become more popular as residents in Tokyo have come to accept Tzu Chi as a place where their children can learn a second language as well as learn the proper etiquette to growing up right.
Reciting words to the New Ling lamp, these students are practicing their Chinese as part of the Tzu Chi Chinese language course here in Tokyo. Started in 2002, Tzu Chi's Chinese lessons don't only teach language, but wisdom through Jingsi aphorisms.
When you pick one, you won't have any worries. If you don't have any worries, you will gain happiness. This is why Sister Dahua only picked one and why she's so happy.
Although there are many places to learn Chinese in Japan, this group of parents chose to enroll their children in Tzu Chi's classes because the values taught are something the whole family can learn from.
Learn to be agreeable, learn to be humble, but don't learn to resolve matters with your fist. Sometimes at home, my daughter will strike her father and I'll remind her, "What does your teacher teach you?" And she will immediately apologize and behave better.
It's important that the children enjoy learning here. The teachers also have a good attitude, so the learning environment is pleasant.
Making sure the students grow up nurtured by Tzu Chi's character education, volunteers are doing their best to incorporate Jingsi aphorisms into Chinese lessons.
To prepare for the upcoming year-end blessing ceremony in Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers from New Taipei City's永和district gather each week to rehearse for the White Ox Cart section of the musical adaptation of the Lotus Sutra. Volunteers go through each sign language movement in each step, making sure everyone have their part down pat for the future performance. We will leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. See you next time.